believe has already taken place. So with that, let's get started. We will begin to hear testimony from our invited witnesses, and at this time, the chair calls Kelly Keel, the Executive Director of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Thank you for being here today. We show you registered as Kelly Keel on behalf of TCEQ and that you will be testifying neutrally. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you again for being here. We look forward to your testimony. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Landgraf, Vice Chair Ordaz, and members of the committee. My name is Kelly Keel, and I'm the Executive Director at the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and provide an overview of TCEQ's responsibilities and the demands on our agency. The TCEQ is the environmental agency for the state, so our goal is clean air, clean water, safe management of waste, and we have the vital mission of protecting public health and natural resources consistent with sustainable economic development. So we have approximately 3,100 employees. 2,100 of those are in our far north Austin headquarters, and over 950 employees are in our 16 regional offices across the state. So for enforcement matters, our 16 regional offices conduct investigations to determine compliance and respond to complaints and other environmental concerns. From El Paso to Houston, Amarillo to the Rio Grande Valley, we have staff that are on standby, ready to respond 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And our regional staff deploy on a moment's notice to mitigate spills, explosions, or natural disasters like Hurricane Beryl, where we dedicated over 18,000 staff hours. We're responsible for implementing environmental programs dictated by state and federal law and programs that are delegated to the state. So these are under the Federal Clean Air Act, the Federal Clean Water Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, as well as the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. Our Office of Air issues permits for facilities of all shapes and sizes. Our staff manages the statewide air quality monitoring network. We develop state implementation plans to comply with federal Clean Air Act requirements, and we administer 12 incentive grant programs under the Texas Emission Reduction Plan. And since the inception of TERP, TCEQ has awarded $1.8 billion in grants that have led to the removal of over 190,000 ozone-forming emissions. Our Office of Waste oversees waste authorizations that include everything from solid and hazardous waste authorizations to registrations and various activities, and we also supervise environmental cleanups. There are approximately 3,000 active sites that have gone through our remediation program. These efforts include things like former dry cleaning, leaking petroleum storage tanks, and state Superfund sites. TCEQ is also responsible for regulating the discharge of wastewater into the surface waters of the state. We enforce water rights, and we have primacy for drinking water from EPA, so we regulate over 7,200 public water systems to ensure safe drinking water for Texans. Still, our ultimate objective is compliance. So we offer compliance assistance to regulated entities. So we contact over 100,000 small businesses and local governments every year to help them comply with environmental regulation, and we see a high demand for our services. So as the population grows, we're witnessing an increase of those coming to do business in Texas. And so to give you an idea of our volume of work, in the past 2 years, we've issued over 16,000 air permits, over 34,000 water quality permits, over 41,000 occupational licenses. We've completed over 800 remediation sites. We've responded to over 20,000 citizen complaints. We've conducted over 213,000 investigations, and we've assessed $27 million deposited into the state treasury. And we have a robust public participation process with an extensive suite of opportunities for the public to engage. In FY24, TCEQ hosted 282 public meetings, hearings, workshops, et cetera, for the public. We understand that public engagement is important to y'all, and we continue to increase public access through information through actions like posting information on our website, making our website more navigable to the public, and creating videos on how the public can participate in our processes. These are just a few of the changes that we've made as a result of Sunset. So we've entirely implemented 75% of the Sunset managerial and statutory recommendations, and the remaining 25% are in progress. We do all this work while adapting to the federal regulatory landscape changes. EPA's previous leadership finalized several regulations with competing deadlines that put us in the difficult position of implementing programs with limited time and resources. So with the current administration, they may revise or repeal these regulations, but until then, they remain in effect, and so therefore we must update our standards and regulatory processes to comply unless otherwise directed. So To keep pace with these demands that I've laid out, the agency has requested additional staff and salary retention dollars to support these programs, so permitting, compliance, and public engagement, to name a few, as a part of our exceptional items request in our budget. That concludes my prepared remarks. Thank you for your interest, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Director Keel. Members, are there any questions for the Executive Director? Chairman Anchia.
Thank you. Director, welcome. Thank you for your service to the state of Texas. This is the first time I'm on this committee, so I apologize for my ignorance on some of these matters. Although in the district that I represent, we deal with and our constituents deal with a lot of environmental, legacy environmental issues and then contemporary environmental issues. What is the best way for my constituents to interact with TCEQ? What are the opportunities for public engagement with constituents? And if you can detail, if this is a very long answer, we can follow up in a one-on-one, but if you can detail just very quickly, what are the best opportunities for them to express our community's values to your agency in open fora?
My initial response is if there's an immediate environmental concern that citizens or anyone else should file a complaint with our regional offices. We respond to all those complaints, and they're responded to in a timely manner depending on the sense of urgency with the matter. So that would be I think the way to address the most immediate issues. If there's interest in terms of public engagement with permits, the applicants are required to provide notification to the community, and there's extensive notification requirements there at multiple junctures in the permitting process, and at least 2 opportunities there that the public can provide us comments on permits as well. But we'd be happy to follow up with your office more extensively on what that process looks like, depending on the type of authorization, the type of permit, type of media.
Perfect, thank you. And I'll take you up on that. We have a couple of issues of sort of legacy concern. There's especially in areas like West Dallas and Northwest Dallas, where growth has been pretty substantial. It is butting up against a lot of industrial uses that are, some of which are new and some of which are long-term. It's also been an area that's been the subject of it's a former Superfund site, by way of example, lead smelters, battery operations that has impacted the community. So I look forward to serving on this committee and having both private and public discussion with you. Thank you.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Members, any other questions?
Chairman.
Vice Chair Ordaz.
Chairman, go ahead.
Mine is just a comment. I just wanted to thank your organization. Before my time here, I sat on a city council, served there as mayor pro tem, and I had a very interesting, unique situation where I worked closely with TCEQ. There was a medical waste facility that was trying to locate in the middle of a neighborhood in my city council district. But TCEQ had initially approved that application to go through, but after thorough discussion and several hearings, working with the executive director and the team, we worked together to identify that there was some flaws and some misrepresentations on the applicant's part. So for the first time, the executive director overturned that initial decision, listened to the constituents of my district, to the local officials there with such professionalism, and really took the time to really engage with the constituencies in such a local district. So from my experience, it's been great working with TCEQ, so I just wanted to thank your team and anything I can do to support you and your efforts. So thank you for working so closely with El Pasoans and all across Texas.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Representative Morales-Shaw.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Director Kill, good to see you again.
Hi.
Thank you for that
Likewise.
overview. Do you happen to have the information of the 25% of the sunset changes that have not been implemented?
Those are in progress, and so generally at this point, we're either soliciting comment from the public on those, we're reviewing public comment, or we're taking public comment in some other manner on those items. I can have one of my subject matter experts come in here and enumerate that for you, or we can follow up with you later on level of detail.
Yeah, following up with my office would be great.
Okay.
We had, I worked close with Representative Bell, and we had a few changes in the sunset that were important to the public-facing part of TCEQ, so I would love to have those updates.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Members, any other questions? I do just want to echo some of the praise for the agency. As you laid out, y'all have been quite busy at the agency across the entire state, but and I am sensitive to your legislative appropriations request. Obviously, that's not before us in this committee, but I can certainly attest that when you are provided those resources by the state, TCEQ and the men and women who work there put that to a very high use for the people of Texas. And anyway, I'd be happy to vouch for that track record. I know Chairman Bell, who carried the sunset legislation during the last session, became very familiar with the inner workings of the agency as well, can probably attest to the same. I also just want to say thank you to you and the staff at TCEQ. Unfortunately, in July of last year, a very devastating chemical fire took place in my district, causing a number of issues with air quality and some groundwater contamination. The regional office for TCEQ was Johnny on the spot, so to speak, and we also had so much help at every level of the agency, and it really made an impact on the lives of some Texans who really needed it from the agency. And so I just want to reiterate my gratitude to the agency for that good work. Members, any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. We appreciate you. This time the chair calls Lisa Brudigan. We appreciate you being here today. Welcome back. We show you registered as Lisa Brudigan on behalf of DS